Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Doc is our doctor. He writes out all of our scriptures. He gives us all of our medicine in our room. We are pre-recorded. I'm Chris King with the Cream City crossover. Trey Crosby and John Tyus are CC'd on this video, but this is my time to shine. I'm the college basketball guy. I'm the guy who you go to for draft news, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. And we will be back at some point during this offseason doing a live stream, doing some videos, a wrap-up. What do we have to add in the free agency and in trade talks? What can we do to make this team better? Because, look, you got the Celtics up 3-1 in the NBA Finals, just steamrolled the East and looking like they're going to steamroll in this NBA Finals. We got to get better. We got to get better. The NBA draft is 11 days away as I record this. It's 2 days. And why does that matter for Bucks fans this year? Well, because you have a selection on both days, the 26th and the 27th, with the 23rd pick in the first round. And then shortly after, in the second round, it's the 33rd pick that the Bucks have. And this is an important draft for Milwaukee Bucks fans, for the organization. There are a ton of names I could throw out there, a lot of prospects. But the way we're going to do this is, my research, what I've been seeing on NBA draft boards, what I know from college basketball or overseas ball, and I'm going to give some of my favorite prospects. And so for the first video, this pick could go either way. It can be a pick that the Bucks select him at 23rd or at 33rd. And that's Terrence Shannon Jr. from Illinois. Big Ten champion, a senior who started his career at Texas Tech and then quickly rose to stardom as a Fighting Illini. But get the elephant out of the room, he was just found not guilty in a sexual assault case and rape case that was based out of Kansas. And that's really what has allowed him to kind of fall on these draft boards to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, glad he's able to get that out of the way, and I'm not going to comment on it too much because it was a false allegation. And so now I'm looking at him as a guy where, hey, proven scorer at the college level, averaged 23 points per game his senior season at Illinois. Would have been a first-team All-American selection had he not ultimately been accused of what he was accused of. Third in the country in points per game at a school like Illinois in the Big Ten. And a winner? Yeah, let's do a deep dive. Terrence Shannon Jr. is a 23-year-old draft prospect out of Illinois. He stands at 6'5", bare feet with a 6'8" wingspan, but look, he has an 8'6" standing reach, which could certainly translate to the motto of the NBA defenders in our league today. During his senior year at Illinois, he averaged 23 points per game on 47% from the field, 36% from three, not bad. What stands out to me most watching Terrence Shannon Jr. is his ability to finish at the rim, score at all three levels, and get out in transition. I mean, I'm already daydreaming about Giannis and Shannon Jr. in the open floor, considering he scored 30% of his average in transition. Another underrated part of his game, he shot 9 free throws per contest in college and hit them at an 80% clip, so a good free throw shooter. Just shows how aggressive he is as a dribble drive threat too. But don't let that fool you. He can become a real perimeter threat on offense as well. He hit 9 threes past 25 feet last year. Scored 23% of his points as a spot-up shooter. So be on the lookout for him to really be able to come off of pick and rolls and knock down shots. Also spot up when Giannis penetrates the defense and finds him on the perimeter open. Shannon Jr. weighed in at 220 pounds. He's one of the strongest players in the class, and that kind of weight allows him to stay aggressive with bigger players on defense, and his athleticism allows him to move his feet quickly. He also showed some glimpses of good rebounding, had multiple games last year where he was in the 10s, in the 11s of rebounds, dropping double-doubles. So I think he can become a great two-way player in the NBA, all while scoring at a really high level. Although I'd love to be completely biased because I think TSJ would be a great pick for the Milwaukee Bucks, I've got to talk about his weaknesses. He doesn't create well for his teammates. He only averaged 2.3 assists in 34 minutes a game with insanely high usage at Illinois, so not really a good playmaker. He's good in the pick and roll, but that's only scoring. You'll see in some of these clips, he's just looking to shoot. He's just looking to drive off the pick and roll. However, the positive that can come out of that is if you pair him up with a guy like Giannis, you're almost forced to give up the ball with how open he gets in the lob threat, the dunker spot. So I think that could eventually turn into a positive. The other thing is he reliable enough to knock down wide open shots or spot up shooting? Because that is a strength of his game, but with how open he will be left in the NBA when Giannis is driving, when Dame is driving, he'll have those open looks. Can he knock those down? And then lastly, his age. That's a concern for pretty much a lot of veteran prospects that come out of college, because the patience will start to dwindle from their organization if they are not NBA ready yet. Let's get into some pro comps. So I've seen a lot of names floated around. One was Kelly Oubre, which I think is doing him a kind of a disservice, because I think Terrence Shannon Jr. is a lot more of a capable scorer than Kelly Oubre is. But then I've also seen wild stuff like Jaylen Brown and Donovan Mitchell. So I think he's somewhere in the middle between Kelly Oubre and Jaylen Brown. The two-way threat of Jaylen Brown, and just how easy it is for him to get to the rim and finish with great tenacity. I think that's somebody he could eventually be. That would be his ceiling, would be a guy like Jaylen Brown. So very encouraging comp I have for Terrence Shannon Jr. I'm really high on him. Like I said, this is the first video I'm doing, and I really hope they go with Terrence Shannon Jr. Now, how does he fit the Bucks, though? Let's get into it. I don't think you can go wrong with selecting TSJ at 23. I think he can be the big defensive wing you're looking for, and could possibly develop into a star with the ball in his hands, especially learning from Giannis and Damian Lillard. You're essentially killing two birds with one stone if you pick him. He fits the identity of the Bucks perfectly. Defensive menace who can play slow or with pace. Illinois is one of the few college programs that runs their offense similar to an NBA team. Heavy spacing, fast in transition, and free reign to operate, and I think he can come in and play right away because of that for the Bucks. They also need another guy who can create their own shot. With Chris getting old and the abysmal shot creation from everyone not named Giannis and Dame, I'd love to see TSJ be that next shot maker and creator, 3-level scorer for us. Let me know what you think. Who else do you want to see me break down? We've got it all on the Cream City crossover. Talk soon. I'm Chris King.